Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Fresh Bake. We've got another update on construction progress going on around the Disneyland Resort. And as we gain focus on Marvel Land here, we're looking at the SpiderMan attraction under construction. And this week, rather than looking for specific details on progress, I thought we'd do a little before and after, something that we haven't done for a little while. Those are always fun. And we're going to stop here and take a look and just see how this particular area, how the Bugs Life Theater / SpiderMan attraction has evolved. If we go back to April, this is a bit of a longer view because there was no detail for us to really look at. But this is, you can see here, construction is already well underway. You've got some demo down here on the ground. You can see that they've been gutting the interior of the building. And there's beginning, you can see right here, beginning of some framework for metal framework. And then if we go forward 2 more months to June, we've slid to the right a little bit, and while there's not a lot going on yet, still, they haven't even put in the annex portion for where they're going to put in the Quinjet. You can see that they've begun putting in those supports. And then back on today, which actually we're going to slide to the right here a little bit, that's where we are. This shot is a little bit more focused in again, but let's, you know what, we'll continue, because it is going to slide to the right, and we'll see now in just a minute where the Quinjet is going to go. I focused in even further. Let's pause here for a second. One thing that I want to observe in comparison to the other area that we're going to look at later, where they're also probably putting in show mills, we figure that because of these guys right here, these little supports. They're going to mount something on top of that, most likely a Quinjet, and it's going to be, you know, you don't want to just put that directly onto the surface of the roof. I'm guessing that's why they do that. But you'll notice they have built this perimeter around the roof line to obscure whatever it is that they're going to have there, whatever things that they don't want us to see that would be bad show. We'll notice later on, they don't have that same perimeter, that same raised wall around the other area, which is curious. And there's the tissue box right behind that. They have been redoing that whole area there for some reason. Now look at, let's stop here again, because just look at what they've done back here. This is just in the last 3 weeks, all that steel that has gone up behind the tissue box. If we go back again to April of 2018, I'm sorry, of 2019, they still haven't even taken out the trees yet. Fantastic, right? Look at all the progress. There's the tissue box right here. And then this whole area right now is covered in steel. All this too. Let's go back. You can't really see it here because again we're zoomed in, but we'll get a longer view. But everything behind that tissue box is now just wall-to-wall steel. And then here's a kind of a close-up look of that area in June, and they're getting ready to do that. And then if we go back again to the present, good heavens, is that all one? Is that all one structure? I wonder. And I wonder if it's the brewery that WDW News Today had leaked that concept art. Here's the brewery. I'm wondering if it's the same thing, although there is one thing to notice right there. See right here in the middle? That's a cutout. That's a open area within that building. So and the concept art for the brewery doesn't have that. So I'm questioning whether or not that is the brewery. We'll pause here again. This is the building I was talking about previously, or referencing, where they're going to have another show element on the roof. It's right across the way. Here's the that's where the Quinjet will be, and you can notice they have the same little supports set up, but there's no, you know, whatever 2 or 3 foot high wall around these, so they may or may not need to obscure whatever it is that they're doing there. So my guess is that it's because it's not going to be an active show element. It's going to be fixed, stagnant. Whereas the Quinjet may have some sort of mechanics or something that they don't want us to see. Again, these are all just my personal guesses and observations. I don't know anything for sure. We'll continue on and just take a look at, golly, we're running out of space. We're starting to, phase one is not a big development. Just think of Bugsland. Remember how small Bugsland was? That's exactly the size of phase one. They want to tell you that Marvel Land is bigger, but that's because they're including eventually Mission Breakout. But phase one is no bigger than Bugsland, which means one ride, one restaurant, and one or two gift shops probably. Mount Kimura has shrunk. And as a matter of fact, we'll stop here again. Wait, what happened? Oh, no, we didn't. Now we'll stop. Here's that long view I was talking about. That gives us a better comparison of how things have evolved. And we'll go back to April again. And they had just taken out those trees right there. And there's a lot of rubble here on the ground. That's a destroyed attraction. And then here it's 2 months later, and you can see they're starting to put in the trench boxes, and a lot of earth-moving equipment over here in the corner. And then that's us today. That's all in just 4 months. They've done that in 4 months, so it's been brisk. The progress has been brisk, to say the least. Let's continue. I don't know what I'm looking for here. This is the same point at Galaxy's Edge where I just kind of got lost. I'm like, there's so much stuff happening that it's difficult to say, ooh, that thing right there is a thing. You know what I mean? Like, we can no longer tell what is what. There's so much happening. Wow. And then we'll stop here to just kind of get a look at what's happening around Mount Kimura. We'll go back to April, and they had, it's just mostly dirt and rubble, nothing happening there. They're doing this last. There's 2 months ago in June. They're doing this last, it appears. And I mean, obviously there has to be an order of operations for these things. They're not going to build it all up at once. But I'm wondering if this might be where the brewery winds up. Moving on. Not sure what I'm looking for here. I think I was trying to get over here. Yeah, sometimes the fun wheel doesn't cooperate, and I have to wait for it. Because you can see just out of frame on the right is the actual beam that gets... that'll block my view here in a second. Nothing happening backstage yet. Nothing happening backstage yet. Let's go to the Pixar Palace parking structure. Now, before we get too far, let's stop. I don't remember what website it was that said, hey, it's not done yet, but this this pedestrian bridge is almost done. No, it's been done, you guys. The pedestrian bridge has done. They're not waiting for the pedestrian bridge. This was plug and play. That was the Lego piece that they just dropped in there. I only mention this just so there's no confusion. The pedestrian bridge is not going to change. That's the finished product right there. What we're waiting for is down here, and we can continue our examination of this area because a lot of stuff has happened. Notably, right here, the pedestrian bridge itself. We looked at this last week, and you can see these supports were put in right here. And then since then, they've filled in with this sort of mesh-like rail. It's probably, they're going to do a little bit more to this. That's not the finished product. You can see some electrical right here. They're going to put in some lights probably. You want this lit. So there's, we're not nearly done there, but I don't think they're going to cover it. I'll say that. I don't think they're going to cover it. And you can see here also they've put in a curb. Oh, here's one. Right, look at this. That's a new curb that they just put in around that light pole right there. And then this curb right here that's the definition of the parking structure, the parking lot relative to the pedestrian path right here. Trees, bushes, that kind of thing, walking path. and then it curves left. Here's more. This is more parking right here. That part there, or it could be road also, but that part right here is going to be parking also right there. A lot of trees. Thank goodness for all them trees. Very grateful for that. Let's switch back over to the Pixar Pals, the common area. A couple weeks ago, we had wondered what they were installing here, those circular forms that they had installed. Well, it turns out they were putting in giant palm trees. But it does look like you can sit on those. If I zoom, yeah, there you go, David, thank you. Zoom in on those, and it does look like you can sit on those. So if you want to rest your feet before you park your car or after you... I'm not sure why they would want those to be seating areas. We could use those in Disneyland proper, but I'm not sure if you need those in the parking lot. People just want to go back to their cars. At least that's my perspective. Over here on the right, this thing right here looks like it's probably going to be maybe wheelchair access for the trams, because that's going to be a proper drop-off area also. Let's go back across the street. Last week, we noticed that they had dug that trench. You got some more trees coming in there. Let's stop here, actually, because Tustin, who helps us out with these updates, pointed out that there's a gap right here. This gap could be, although I'm not sure. He thinks that it could be for alternate access down so that you don't have to take the whole walkway down, that you can maybe take some stairs or something like that. My only question is, it wouldn't be on this side. I don't think it would be on this side. I think it would be on the other side so that it would join with the footpath that's down there. I'm not sure where you navigate. Guess if you take a stair down this way. I mean, I guess there is a walking path right there. So if... that just doesn't seem very logical. That's very close. There has to be some other purpose for this cutout right here. I'm not sure what that would be, but let's continue. And here what I'm trying to do here is trying to imagine where that walking path will continue as it meets the intersection where you enter the downtown Disney parking lot, which we'll see in a minute, I think. And then here's a side view of the curbs that are separating the pedestrian path from the parking lot for downtown Disney. I had wondered why it was curved like that, the forms that we saw originally, but that makes sense now because right here I'm guessing that that's also going to be, for vehicles to pass through right there. Just tracking along the footpath there, all that concrete has been poured. It stops right about there. It wouldn't be impossible for them to join this path up to the monorail. That would be pretty neat. It wouldn't be impossible. I thought that would be very impractical at first, but because you have to do another bag check right there. But now that I think about it, it's not out of the question. Anyway, there you go, guys. That's the end of the path and the end of our construction update. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Fresh baked. We've got lots more videos for you to see, so grab a churro and check out some of our other videos and have your mind blown by how much fun we're having. We truly are the best of Disney Bake Fresh Daily. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time. Fresh baked!